So, hello everyone, and welcome to our Breaking Barriers interview today. I'm so excited. Imie and I are having as a guest Colleen Wynia. Thank you for making
Hi,
sure I say it the right
a
way.
fellow Canadian from Vancouver, right?
From North Vancouver, British Columbia. Big difference
North
out
Vancouver.
here.
Oh, that matters. It makes a difference. So, we'd love to have you on today. Our goal is to have people who are, on Facebook and also active in our community and who can share about breaking barriers, the barriers they've had and their customers have had. So, we could start with you introducing yourself briefly to our audience so we can know who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thanks so much for this opportunity to be a part of your group, your community, and connecting with like-hearted women who are breaking barriers. My name's Colleen Wynia. I'm from beautiful North Vancouver, British Columbia, born and raised. And the short synopsis, I actually grew up in the corporate world in lumber industry, marketing lumber products overseas. And a little bit about me is that transitioned into the health and wellness industry when I lost initially two beautiful men in my life who were my boys, my cousin Mike, my brother, my father, both at young ages, 27 and 60, and to cancer. And that opened up my whole frame of interest in prevention, the natural way, in working through grief and loss from the loss of loved ones within 9 months of each other, and from the inner child inside of me that had been wounded, that never been resolved. I learned later the grief led me to the other. So I'm a Reset Your Vibe energy coach, holistic educator, nutritional educator, and spiritual intuitive. So I tap into those places that are unseen to support people to heal and expand themselves from the inside out. Lastly, on that note, I've spent 20 years in body work, in massage, and really getting people to get in their body. And now, the last few years, pre-COVID, actually, I was looking at a way to move and transition to help more people than in person and one-to-one. So I bring all of these pieces together to share with the world to really make a difference, because I've gone through a really tough time and I want to show people there's a better way, and energy is everything.
Wow, I love that. There's so much in there because there's so many words I don't even know how to explain what they mean, but I get what they mean. I have worked with you, so I have an idea. But maybe to make it clearer for people who are watching, like you talked about transitioning. So you help people in transition, and you transition from the corporate to the wellness world. So what was in our breaking barriers theme? What were the barriers that you had to go over to, or rise above, or go right through to go from that world to where you are now?
Oh,
Or some of the barriers, maybe not all of
I was gonna say maybe we'll just pick a couple here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, because we're speaking to female entrepreneurs, but we're speaking to human beings as
Hmm.
well.
Exactly.
There's two that really, well, I'm not sure if it's two or three, but the first thing is I always had a dream, much like much of us, well, I'm presuming, which is inappropriate. But as I talk to people over the years, most of us want freedom in our hearts, financial freedom, and freedom to really shine and figure out ourselves. So the first piece as a business entrepreneur is I always had a dream of working for myself, home-based office back at the time, way pre-passive income. It was just work for myself and get out of that. But I didn't know how. So universe stepped in, which I mean God. If you're, I support people in all faiths. So if it's God or source, whatever your belief system is, something stepped in. And from the loss of loved ones, the struggle was, how do you move from 9 to 5 or 6 to 3, selling in the administrative world, getting a paycheck and moving into something else? But I was helped. Okay.
Mm.
I was helped by the universe because I didn't know how. So when my loved ones passed, all of a sudden the interest started to form, as I explained, in prevention and healing the heart, and feeling better in my body, and working through past trauma from family. And so I want to tell you, it wasn't really me at first. At first, it was the universe stepped in and said, Colleen, you've had your journey here. We're going to like shake you up. You're going to do a lot of personal development work. And that was the hard part, guys. It was the struggle was always had a dream, didn't know how to get there. So universe stepped in. And then it was diving into the dark, the yuck, the emotional wounded self. So I trained with, it took 3.5 years of really deep diving, which kind of relates to the program that I met you through, Charlotte, and got to know you, is going into the places that need to be addressed in order for the successes, the ideas, the relationships to expand. And I'm not sure if everybody will, make sense of this all at first, but I believe that how we feel, which I mean by energy, we're energy beings scientifically, that's a proven fact. You can break things down and really energy is, molecules and atoms, but how we feel resonates out to the world. Sort of loosely, you might talk about law of attraction. So the struggle for me was, how do I overcome my grief? How do I overcome feeling terrible about myself, low self-esteem, not loving, not wanting to get up in the morning, edge of depression? I had to work with that. So that was the biggest struggle, was working with my emotional wisdom, getting to feel better through different scenarios I did, groups, individual therapy, you name it. I was crying every second day because 2 deaths turned into 12 deaths over a number of years. So you can imagine just that alone, and you add that to your little girl trauma that was never, brushed under the rug. So the biggest struggle to go anywhere in life was to meet the emotional, wounded inner child, as you might hear people talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to deal with that before you begin your entrepreneurship journey?
I dealt with it during it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a gradual stage. Again, the universe stepped in, because what happened is, to explain it in a really easy way, is when I lost my loved ones, it led me to an experience where I felt their presence spiritually, and that was new for me. And I went around to my circle of the community, my friends, my family, and I said, just a few people that I trusted, and my dear aunt, who was on the side of the bed at the passing of my cousin, and I was on the other side. I said, Diane, I said, I'm having these kind of experiences. I feel like Rob's trying to communicate with me in this way. Do you know what's going on? And she's like, no, she's just grieving, right? And she said, but I know a lady down the hall. I think you should talk to her. And so she brought a lady over to her dining room table, and it led to going to a spiritualist church. It led to working with Shambhala trainings for 3.5 years and becoming a practitioner while I had the full-time job. So in the evening weekends, you're working on yourself. So it was a stepping stone, but I still had a full-time job. Then what happened is, at the same time, the job was changing. Companies were buying each other out. Jobs were dissipating at the company. What happened is, I started to learn a breathing technique that I was able to work with individuals in my comfort of my home. And I started very part-time because the universe brought those people to me, and it grew from there. So I know you look for a straightforward answer, but I believe it comes back to trusting that the universe got our back, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or, faith, and going through the steps to meet yourself whenever the feelings come up that you don't want to feel and you want to run from them, and working with your mindset and keep going. And then as you work through the pain and feeling better in life and more confident and whatnot, clarity, then things happen and you're led to something, and someone says, hey Colleen, would you speak about that process you do that helped you, that you're helping your people part-time in your living room? I said, okay. Next thing you know, I scored my very first client who worked with me every week, once a week for 10 weeks. And he later said, in that 10 weeks, that year after working with me, AA didn't serve him anymore. He had been an alcoholic. So he got as far as he could with the traditional system, and he met me and he goes, let me try that very simple breathing process and counseling you do. And he felt better and better and better. He's like, oh my God, I can get on with my life now in a new way. So I help people elevate from where they are to where they want to go. And then the universe just shows up for me. So I'm finding my way.
How long have you been in business?
20 years.
Hmm.
I started part-time in 2001. 2002 is 2002. About 2002 is when I went full-time. The universe hits you over the head. Imagine this. Imagine you're going from the corporate world. I got downsized, went back to school, a traditional business. That's all I knew. Got my diploma, not a degree, but a diploma, because I was a mature student. I could sort of do that. And then I'm like, I'm going to work for myself from home. But you're like trying to like figure out what jobs do you take. And it was really a struggle. I ended up lost my home. I went bankrupt. I was very stressful. I lost some hair. I got a job. I lost my hair because I found a job that I sourced selling health products. And the gentleman who ran the business was a real, he seemed like an amazing guy, and he wasn't. And it stressed me out, and I was scared to leave. But the longer I stayed, the worse my health got. And finally, I did wait until I got another job, but then I didn't get the job because I was so stressed out that I had to quit. My fiance said, you, what are you doing? I went to go give my 2-week notice. And then I gave like 1 day notice, and my fiance said, oh no, what are you doing? And the gentleman pulled and retracted my commissions back. He basically took my money away from me. And at the time I was selling my home, I had sold my home, lost all my money. I had $1,500 left after paying off the bank because they were going to foreclose me. And my new rental was $1,100 at the time. And I found myself, what do I do? And God kind of hit me on the head because I had a job and they didn't hire me because I had not let my 2-week notice transition go by, right? So universe sets you up, and I'm driving on the highway crying. What do I do? I have no house. I have no money. I have no job. And bing.
Is this before you start your business or during your
This goes to the 20-year beginning. So the first 12 years I was in corporate world.
Okay.
I wanted to transition, and I had all of this personal growth, a little bit of going back to school for 1.5 years, getting my diploma.
So when did you officially started your business?
This one, 2001, 2002.
Okay.
We have some questions from, go ahead.
You go ahead. You have a question?
The question, well, I had 2 things I wanted to share from earlier, but there's a question also that I think is really interesting from Cleo. She wanted to know, and maybe the question would be about the time when you have your business, because we talked about the barriers from going from the corporate to business world, but in your business, in building your business, Cleo wanted to know if you could share one step that helped you get out through a barrier in building your business. Maybe that would relate also people that would be relatable for people who are watching. So something that that you really were able to do that could be helpful to others to know in building your business to where it is at this point.
It was stepping out of my fear and speaking to people, to be honest. I was scared in that moment when the universe bopped me on the head and said, go do what you already started to do part-time. Go do it. Move to the new place. I'm going to explain it this way to answer the question is imagine this, a bang on the head, a little tap, and says you got 3 days. You're going to spend 2 days crying, emoting, pity party. And then you're also going to make a little flyer, and you're going to go out there and you're going to market the old fashioned way, massage. Because massage is well known to everybody. It's not woo woo, it's bodywork and massage. And that was what I also did. So the message was I had to get out of my comfort zone. I was scared as heck. I'm not an artist either. So I just made a Word document, put it on red paper, cut it in half at the printer. I walked up the old-fashioned way to the city where I moved back to, 2 blocks, and I just approached people. I approached businesses, said hi, put on the smile like I
You
was
just
so
push
confident.
through that. You just push through that barrier and just.
Yeah, you
like-
just do it. I'll tell you how you do it. So imagine you're in your body and you're scared like me, and you're walking down the street, and you go into the restaurant, and you go up to them and you just make yourself do what's uncomfortable. And then you go, oh, you got through that. They let you put your flyers there. Then you go, I'm going to go in the next store. And I'm like, oh my God, the fear comes up again. I can't go in the next store. So I keep walking. I go, well, I'll go in the next one. It was like this conversation with myself. Finally, here's what happened is all in 2 blocks. I probably only covered 6 businesses because I was scared. I went into the ski and snowboard shop. And just by keep doing it, you get better, you get a little less scared,
You
not
gain
much.
confidence. You gain
Yeah,
confidence.
Little more
What
confidence.
happens is when you do something, you just, push it through. And by the 5th time, it's like, hey, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah.
Exactly. And what you just spoke on is what happened. A beautiful young woman said, oh my God, I could totally use a massage. What's your calendar like tonight, today, when I'm off work?
Yeah.
My calendar is fucking wide open, right? Because it's my first time. I scored my first client for, I think it was like $65, 6:30 at night. And I went, I did it. I can do this again, as scary as it is.
That's a really good lesson. And it's funny, like when you said the one thing that you really did that was so big is stepping out of your comfort zone and talking to people. What's really interesting with that is that when you describe how you quit that corporate job, that was also an issue for you, was talking to people, because it was so difficult for you to actually go and talk to someone to say that you wanted to stop. And it's also talking with deceased people, all of this too. So I'm finding that there's an overall thing that we can all learn from. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit about that part. Like, why is it important for some people that you meet, business people or not, to be able to be more aware of the signs from their departed or deceased, close people? And do you see a relation with business? Because I didn't see it before I met you, but we found one together. So just touch on that some with us.
Yeah, I'd love to. I just gonna write the word down, trust, so I don't forget the word trust, because it's around trusting yourself. To relate, I was back in between the having left, left the company and searching for myself. It was really interesting because just bear with me here one moment. I just lost the frame of it. Oh my gosh, I just forgot. Yes, I went back to school to get my diploma, and I took a sales training course, and they asked us to create a presentation like on a PowerPoint, and it could be like whatever subject matter you wanted. You had to stand up in front of the room and share it. So I come from the business world, but I also have a heart perspective that was developing. So I did Buddhism in business. Buddhism in business. And what do they have in common? And I delivered it to my sales team, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, like Buddhism has a link to business. So that was my first exposure. And I made the points that they went, oh yeah, that actually really makes sense. So to answer your question, the biggest thing is trust.
Exactly. What do you find that people, like among the people that you've helped in this area of, why does it matter to people? Like what kind of barrier they're getting through, or like, what does it matter that we can have signs from our departed loved ones? And what link is there with business that we could see?
Okay. It's the word trust. Let's do my best here. I've never been asked this before, so thank you.
Well, it came up because
working it out here.
It came up in our relationship that we discovered that there was a link. Anyway, for me, there was a direct link with my business. So that's why I'm thinking it would be easy to talk about, even if we've never talked about it before, So.
I love it. I love it. This challenges me, right? Challenges me to figure out how to describe it. It is about, the common theme here is, remember we said confidence? Funny enough, the theme is confidence. Well, I Googled confidence, what's the meaning of trust? And it was confidence. Confidence was trust. So in my new program, I included the word confidence. I wanted to make sure it meant trust. Trusting yourself is the #1 key. Okay. It's also the thing that most of my clients and myself, or myself, I'm owning it 1,000%. My journey, in numerology, I was born, my birth dates add to what's called a 3, 4, and you add them together and it becomes a 7. So depending what your life soul is, you may have different things to work out. Mine's trust. So I attract a lot of women or men dealing with that difficulty in trusting themselves. So if you want to connect with your loved ones because they care about you, they have a message for you, they're not going to, excuse my language, BS you. They might play with you and they're being mischievous, but they've already lived their life. They don't want you to waste your life, like being down in the dumps and not doing what you're here to do on a sole purpose. So there is a reason to trust them. They want the best for you. The same thing goes true. So you have to learn to develop trust within you so you can trust what they're sharing with you. Otherwise, you couldn't recognize trust. Now, the same is with your business. My whole journey, what's led me along this difficult path of, slowly, growing and opening and figuring out, trusting people, clients are going to show up, trusting my bills are going to get paid, trusting that somewhere along the line, a passive income stream will start to explode or grow. It's every decision you make in business. I want to encourage you to trust yourself. So if you have an intuitive hit, when someone meets you and said, hey, Shar, hey, Imie, would you, would you do this partnership with me, or would you do this thing? And you get this, thing inside of you, and it says, you don't know why, but it says no, or no, not now. It could be because you're not a match with that for the best step towards your future, like values and vision. Or if you get that big, that, oh my God, like I met Imie and I want to know her. I've been following her and I want to like do something with her, and you trust it, and look where it's got you today. You guys got this.
It's the trust of energy as well.
Trust is energy, is my absolutely.
Exactly. Which makes the link between the whole thing and being aligned with yourself. So Imie, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have, just before we end off, I have a question. So being in the holistic industry, or in the niche, what do you think is the biggest barrier for your niche as far as getting through this pandemic?
Being seen. How to be seen. We're afraid to be seen. It's easy to hide in a pandemic. We're being forced to be seen, because look, all of a sudden, we're
just caring, right? Where it's not an overt action. So we're kind of like as coaches, it could be like, I'm waiting for people to show up at my door so I can help them. So it's not that overt activity.
Yeah, and I feel like the connection between they talk like that I'm not finding the exact word here, but that, not balance, but that connection between taking action that feels the right. Like, for example, let me give you an example. Just going back to your group, you've designed a Facebook group for women that they don't have to be in a million different groups. And that is one of my challenges. I have, people every day saying, hey, do you want to be like, not just the general, hi, do you want to
pull, right?
Yeah, there's this pull. And so my old pattern, I'll tell you, is to please everybody. I'm a people pleaser. And guess who gets pleased before I do? You do.
Everybody else.
And guess who gets the sacrifice and the downside of it? I do. And I'm still dealing with it every day. It's in smaller degrees, but when I'm out of alignment with myself, out of peace, out of energy, worried, scared, all of that, guess what interferes or impacts those things?
Thank
Being seen, to answer your question, it's
That's a
how do
very,
we be seen?
Absolutely.
very good answer. We've seen that in our group too. We want to be seen. People need to be seen. Actually, it's the only way to have business right now, and we're afraid of being seen. So it's the two together that are actually the biggest struggle in itself.
I know we're at time here, but one more quick thing around the be seen, maybe to help everybody,
Mhm.
is this is just what I've dealt with. You know, when you're out there, I use the word marketing loosely, but you're out there and you're putting yourself out there and you're watching, comparing yourself to others.
Mhm.
And I watch, say, Shar. We'll use you as an example. Shar, I see in you this incredible ability as well. It's also your innate ability to really put yourself out there and in different places, and got different groups. And I mean, actually, you blow me away because I'm not built like that. Okay, I'm not in the it just drains me. I have to be a little more focused, but I respect it. I honor it. I wish I was like you. What I wanted to say is, oh my gosh.
Comparison. I think you were talking about not comparing.
It's a different side of the coin. Just a moment here. I may have to come back to the group and leave a comment after if we're running out of time here, but it was really important. It was, oh yeah, I'll see if I can, I'm looking down because I'm channeling a little bit, so forgive me. It is, look at other people marketing themselves, meaning, hi, I'm Mary and I do this and let me help you. And I don't think there's a place for me. So I'm constantly like that walk down the street where I had to go into and market and hi, I'm back in town. I'm still dealing with that where I think I don't have the right or enough value to offer to show up like over and over again. I don't want to get in people's inboxes and become like, oh, there's Colleen again. She wants
or
yeah. But so what happens is I'm going to say, I'm learning we have to do that right now, obviously from our heart. But I'm like, should I put another post about like the thing I'm doing? Or if I have a gift to share, do I really talk about it again? Like, people heard me before. And we know how many times it takes for someone to hear a message before they're actually ready to dive in or buy or explore it. So I'm saying I shouldn't, that's the brain. It would be better as I'm choosing to change my mind bit by bit or a lot by a lot. And that's what I want to tell you guys is be seen is okay. It's needed. Showing up. Vulnerability is number one. In my opinion, not that you cry all over the place, but I'm just saying, show your real self, both your highs and your lows, and people will trust you more and feel inclined to work with you more.
Oh, wow. That's such a beautiful share.
Yeah, that's really what we've been trying to do in the group is like, marketing. You don't really need to market the way others market. It's just like show up, tell your story, and just like be yourself, and they will know eventually that you are doing what you're doing. So I have one more question, and I think it's my last question. I think it's really pertinent to what you do is how do you see yourself and how your vision and your activity fit into to our environment currently with the pandemic and all that. How do you see yourself as the vehicle or the person for people to get through this shit that we're in?
This is so interesting. I was going to say one thing, but just at the end of your sentence, something popped in. That's how it works with me. And I'm going to say that first. I'm the one that be the shoulder you can cry on.
Excellent.
That's what came. Yeah. And I think that download came is I'm the one you can be, because we need a place for that, because when you resolve it, and it's energy, it's emotion, is the same as joy, sad, it doesn't matter, it's energetic. You shift one to the other, then all of a sudden you're connected, inspired. And how I do it, or how it can be on during this pandemic and online, is before people would have to one-to-one see me either at coaching call, or mostly I do in person. Very deep in person, transform. I can't do that for you if you live in, southern United States or Quebec, but I can pull out all of these tools minus the touch and help people so they can release in the ways that I teach them, like in my program, for example, which is why it came to the world. Crystallize your vision, energize your pathway to clarity, confidence, and creativity, to tap into your intuitive brilliance and your emotional wisdom, because I believe all comes from that. And we get into that and all your answers will just show up.
Wow, I guess we really had the gold for the end there. So yeah,
for sharing all that.
So the last question, which is like one of the most important, is we want to know just if you could say briefly like what you do and how people can get in contact with you. Sure. Like, and I know you'll put the information in the comments, but this would be a good time to touch on that, where you are, well, how to contact you or how to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Really simple. The first thing is I have a website. It's my name, ColleenWynia.com. And the easiest thing to do is you can pop over to the website and you can actually, I printed this off because I hadn't had a copy of it for a while, but it's a little e-guide so you could join my community. It's called 8 Best Steps to Raise Your Vibration, Attract Vibrant Health, Love, Money, and Magic. So this is like my free giveaway. And you could, so that's on my website, or you can ask me for that directly. And I'm on Facebook, profile, business and personal, and Instagram. And I'm over on LinkedIn as well, though I haven't been super active these days with the creation of my program. So how I can help people is a strategy call. I offer a free strategy call if you're working on like my time for you, just to kind of work out 1 or 2 little things or big things you're working on. And in return, I can educate you on how I could help you if you want to work with me in my program or privately. So yeah, I would love to meet anybody who's working on those areas of confidence, doubt, overwhelm, stress, grief, and you just want that edge up so that you can get in alignment with your energy and bring more of you to the world.
Awesome. Wow. This is great. Well, we look forward to continuing the conversation in the comments and also under the video wherever it will be posted. And thank you so much for joining us and taking the time today with us.
Thank you guys. Really, I appreciate the invitation. It's been a joy. And anything I can do to serve either of you guys in another way, please ask.
Awesome.
We're collaborating.
Yes.
Oh, one last thing, guys. If you like videos, I should tell you. So sorry. This is so important. I have a YouTube channel as well. So definitely take a look. Because the reason I'm bringing that up is I just remembered, Shar, you were talking about, the spiritual side of things and loved ones. And those are probably my most popular videos, is ones where people are Googling afterlife or moving objects or strange, and I have, I can shoot you guys over if you put a comment below or wherever you're watching this video, let me know you want to know about loved ones a bit more. And I have one link that I can send you. It's the spiritual collective, of videos on YouTube, all in one. And you can just glance through the titles and see if something draws your attention to watch 1 or 2 of them.
Awesome. We'll make sure to ask that question in the comments under the video where it will be posted. So that's great. Yes, I've watched a couple of those. I thought they were really interesting. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we look forward to continue this conversation. There are a couple of people that were watching live, so more people will watch on replay. And thank you again.
Okay. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.